Welcome, Ensign Ricky, Kareem, Dave Bob, Gap Stargate. Let's see who else is up here. Let me scroll up. Live for Love Shack. Yes, and again. Welcome, everybody. Gray Troll. Good to see you, Gray Troll. Tech Geek RE. Everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to have an amazing show. Hello, Colin, Louise, everybody who is in here, everybody who is in the chat. Welcome, everybody. We have an amazing hello from the UK, Matt Ryan from the UK, staying up late for watch us. Welcome everybody, guys, and hello, Julie. We have an amazing lineup tonight. The most honorable Joseph Mallozzi and Roger Cross, they're both with us tonight. Joe has brought Roger with him, and we're gonna ask them both a whole bunch of questions. Let me just start by bringing in our panelists, and there we go. Let's start by bringing in our panelists. You guys all know Katie, the Starfleet meteorologist. Hello, Katie.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
It's good to see you. And Katie, before we get started, can you just remind everybody, and if you want to put in your chat, you have the wrench, if you want to put in the website of all your fandoms, can you tell everybody really quick? So many fandoms. What is your...
Yeah, so many fandoms is the channel that I put up all my fandom forecasts, which is basically, I'm a meteorologist. It's not just a title, it's a profession. And I make forecasts for different fandoms. And I'm sure there'll be a dark matter one coming up soon. So if you guys follow that channel, you'll be able to see it. And let's see.
Okay. And can you hear me okay, Katie?
I can hear you okay. Did you hear me okay?
Okay. Yeah, it froze for a second, but we're good.
Oh,
okay.
No.
Great. And I'm gonna bring in Dr. Adega Outlaw. You guys all know him as the doctor and sci-fi author of our community. Hello, Adega, our good friend Adega. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
And can you tell us really quick the show you guys did today, Adega, with 14? Just to let everybody know.
And we do it every week. I was tied up over the weekend, so we did it today. And it's the weird, bizarre, strange things in the world that we cover about an hour once a week. And we decided since it's October, we're covering different aspects of Halloween. So that's what we did today.
Awesome. And the show is called Strangeness, correct?
Right.
Okay, great. And we are ready to bring in our two very special guests. First, we want to say thank you again for this amazing opportunity for the man who is presently drinking a cup of Joe as he's in the backstage. And we have a nice warm welcome to Joe Mallozzi, guys.
Hello. Actually, it's not Joe. It's just water. But
it's vodka.
Hugs and kisses mug.
And yeah, this great opportunity, Joe. Again, thank you for from everybody in the community. Yeah, I think the reaction has been tremendous. Thank you for this opportunity to go through one of our favorite sci-fi shows with its creator. Really, it's just amazing.
My pleasure.
And I want to bring in you guys. I want to bring in our special guest tonight, who Joe has convinced somehow to join us. And I want to go ahead and just read some of the other work that this gentleman has been involved with. And I know some of you have seen him on our friend's channel, on Simone's channel recently. We're gonna ask Roger to come in one sec. He is involved in the show Coroner. Excuse me. And I'm gonna have to ask him. There's an abbreviation to Coroner that I'm not familiar with in his IMDb, and he's been involved in Dark Matter, Continuum, Mad Money, Law and Order, The Rookie, and so much more. The X-Files. We're going to ask Roger about the X-Files. Wow. And his IMDb goes on and on and on. So I want to introduce you guys. One of our favorite characters, Six, played by Roger Cross. Welcome, Roger.
Hey. Hello, everyone. How are you?
Hello.
It's an honor to have you both here. Where are you streaming in from, Roger? If you want to share.
I'm from Toronto because that's where we filmed Coroner. So I'm in this, luxury. What do you call it? Furnished rental here in Toronto.
Nothing but the best.
Now, is Coroner? Is it abbreviated CORN? The show, is that correct?
No.
Or did I misread that?
You misread it because Corn is a horror movie that I actually filmed. That's going to be coming up later on. So
okay.
That's
that
a
makes a lot.
horror movie that will be. I have no clue when they're going to release that. That was shot and now they're editing it and blah 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 blah. They're doing something. But yes.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I'm going to put the link into Roger's IMDb in case you guys want to check it out. And since we're starting talking about his IMDb, and I think, okay, there we go. Yeah. Okay, I think somebody might have a mic that's loose and hitting on something. No. Okay. I think we're going to ask, since we're talking about Roger's IMDb, I wanted to ask Roger, first of all, before we get started. It's interesting because it's on his IMDb. And I think fans might be really curious about this. On your IMDb, it says you play yourself on Dark Matter, Roger. How can this be?
I hate to correct you again, but that's After Dark, which is the talk show.
Oh,
about Dark Matter.
Good catch.
We have this After Dark, which was done in conjunction with it. So after each episode, they do After Dark, do these interviews with us, and so that's what that is all about. But or maybe maybe I'm Six in real life, or whoever he is. Maybe that's just me, and I'm just conning everyone. So Joe wrote the story about my real life and put it in and just called it Dark Matter.
I am such a huge fan. That shows you how big a fan I am.
If that's the case, why the heck did you come back to 2020?
Because I wanted.
Yeah, there's a reason why Joe knows how to write
with
the time travel.
And Trump and all that.
Yeah,
I needed to watch this debacle and watch this crazy show.
he's come back to save us.
I did.
Well, you're absolutely right. And YouTubers, you can never do enough prep. There's always something that will go wrong. You're absolutely right. I'm taking a better look at it, and you're absolutely right. But there is one thing that I saw that got me on this train of thought, Roger, which is this. Because I was looking through your IMDb, and when we're looking at your X-Files, it says Roger Cross as Roger Cross. And so we did want to ask you about that too. Do you want to? You've been on X-Files quite a bit.
Yeah, each season they seem to bring me in for a different character. It became a joke, and at the end of it too, he was like, So it was Chris Carter like, well, what are we gonna do with you next time? I'm like, that's up to you. You're writing it. So it's like. No, it's a lot of fun. It literally almost became a bit of a joke each season. I'd play a different character, but they were all very different, and it was a lot of fun. But let's see. Roger, Agent Rice, Roger Cross, blah, blah, blah. I have no clue.
Wow. Okay. Anyway, we're just joking around. But yeah, no. But this is fascinating. And listen, if you guys, for all of you guys who are Roger Cross fans out there, make sure you go ahead and check out these X-Files episodes. And guys, there is one of you, and I'm just going to mute you one at a time. Somebody's rubbing up against their microphone. Let's see. It's Katie.
It's Katie.
I suspected it was Katie.
I'm just gonna hold it like this.
It's static from that last storm you chased. Stuck in your equipment.
I wish. Actually, I might have
really
plug
get
it in and
struck
try
by
and plug it back in. I have almost been struck by lightning on multiple occasions. It's not good. Lots of pictures of it too.
Really? What?
Oh yeah, I gotta find somewhere, sometime. I'll pull it up. I'll send it. It's not something I want to do again, but I'm sure will happen again. But I'm gonna try and fix my mic here real quick.
All right.
So we want to try to keep it relaxed, but as we try to kind of move through the episode, and I just want to just kick things off right here, really quick. So episode 1 ends where you're all sitting looking at the android, and you're all sitting looking at the android, and she's telling you who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And are you guys still hearing the?
Yep,
I am. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not me. Not me.
All right. Let's see. Okay, it might be Roger.
I
might
knew
be
it.
Roger.
I was on the phone here, so.
No, I just like it. Sometimes it's really sensitive. If you're just moving around, sometimes that's what it'll do. It'll just be enough to.
Don't move.
Don't move. Don't. Okay. All right. I'm frozen.
So Roger, can you tell us how you were introduced to Dark Matter? How were you cast? How did you audition? And how much did you pay Joe Mallozzi to play the role?
Oh, I paid him a lot. No, I mean, no. Yeah, no, I'd heard about Dark Matter before this, a few months before I even read for it. I'd heard about it, but actually it was supposed to be, I believe, in Vancouver initially, right, Joe?
That was the plan.
That was one of the plans. So it was kind of like, okay, I wanted to do something like on the West Coast, which would have been perfect. And then when it came around next, I'm here. Oh, it's going to be in Toronto. And actually, I believe I was in Dominican Republic at the time. Mm-hmm. When they sent me the material and go, would you record this, lay this down? I'm like, and then one of my days off, one of the other actors said, okay, yeah, I'll help you read that. And he read it, and we sent it in, and then I was actually still on the strain at the time. And so still Continuum was going on. So I had a bit of a schedule. And so we're like, it's not going to work. So I'm like, well, thanks for everything, guys, but it's not going to work. It's been a pleasure. Like, no, but we can do this. And I'm like, guys, I can't split myself in 3 at the time. But TJ Scott, who was directing the pilot of Dark Matter, was also doing a thing on the strain, and he knew all the producers. And he's like, Roger, I can make this work. You're going to do the show. I'm like, how are you going to make this work? And he just said, listen, we'll just work it out. We'll work with the producers. They'll sort out your schedule. And since we're both in events and they're both in Toronto, we can make it work. And I'm like, okay. And we hadn't gotten word on Continuum as yet because they weren't sure if it was going to be renewed. And so then I'm like, if you can work it out, okay, I'll trust you to do it. And so he managed to work it out. And so some days it literally would be, I would shoot on the strain and then go right to Dark Matter. Because a lot of times Strain shot at night, and then I go to Dark Matter and just get some sleep and then go to set. It happened a few times, not very often, but occasionally would happen. But they were able to work that out. And then when Continuum found out it got picked up for that final 6 episode, which was a shame, that show deserved better. That then basically I had to fly back to Vancouver twice just for location things. But what they did is they saved everything that I did for the 6 episodes till the very end. So after I wrapped Dark Matter, I went there and I block shot, and so they blocked it out, and I shot all my stuff for the episodes that I'd missed.
Wow. And Joe, what did you see? What did your team see in Roger?
I don't know if I talked about this last time, but there were certain roles where basically you'd have 2 or 3 in a short list. In the case of 6, Roger was far and away the guy. And I keep mentioning there's this. You send the actors various scenes to basically audition to. And the scene that I was really looking for, there was an exchange. I don't know if you remember it, Roger, but you were talking to Five, and there's a point where you say to her, there'll come a time when you leave this ship. And when that time comes, I'm going to miss you, kid. I'm going to miss you a lot. And no one captured the warmth of that scene like Roger did. He's naturally, I can say, this a very warm individual, a very down to earth, a very sort of grounded individual. So it was just kind of a no-brainer. So we knew we had to make it work. Also, I have to say, sort of one of the highlights of the production for me was day one was getting a huge hug from Roger. So in the photos that you show of Roger and me, there's a picture of him with his arm around me and me doing this. That look of fear as a result of basically Roger's a very affectionate guy. He likes his hugs, but he also doesn't know his own strength. So I was standing offset, and he walks over and he gives Ivan, who's our on-set producer, a big hug. And then he walks up to me, and I was like, no, wait. And he picks me up, and if I could approximate, what I'm going to do is maybe I'll say, this water bottle is, let's say, the cartilage in my ribs, and my hand is Roger Cross, and it was sort of like. So I was. After that, whenever Roger came over, I was like.
What he's failing to tell you is that he was already injured. He was already injured when that occurred, and I might have, inflamed it a little bit.
By the way, my wife Akemi is shaming me for telling that story.
Thank you. See, I love her.
Roger, are you
unmuting and muting me? It's not my mic, is it?
No, it is your mic. I was just going to ask you, are you able to mute and unmute yourself whenever you want to talk?
Let's see.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so you're muted. There you go. You're unmuted now. So yeah, why don't we do that? Whenever you want to talk, just unmute yourself.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
And then depending on how things go, maybe we'll just ask you to mute.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's the mic for some reason. And I see you, James. I'm going to bring you in as soon as you're. There you go. I'm just going to bring in our other panelist, James Ricard. He is an actor who has been involved in many shows, and he's going to be. We're going to interview him as well soon. He's going to be a regular on some of our streams. So I just want to introduce James Ricard. Hello, James. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Had a little difficulty getting in here, trying to figure out all this stuff, but hello.
Just introduce you really quick to Roger, Joe, Adega, and Katie, and just jump in whenever you want to, whenever you feel.
They muted me, James.
He's in the quiet corner. He was acting up. We had to have him silenced.
The meetings were substantial.
Just real quick before we move on, Roger, have you watched the Orville? Have you seen the Orville?
I watched the Orville in the first season. I have not caught up on it, and also John Cassar, who I know very well, is now showrunner, writer on it, and he's a friend of mine, and so I do need to catch up. I just have not caught up on it. But I know
It'll blow your mind.
Great. So we left your crew, Roger, on that planet where they're helping the colonists in season 2, and they start off. The episode starts off where you guys are kind of discovering the more things about yourself and the ship, and the writers. I assume Joe. I don't know who wrote this episode, Joe.
That was me.
That was you. So Joe, you paired them off into little groups at the beginning, and we see Roger here paired off with Anthony, with 3, and they're both in the shuttle, and so 6 is just coming back to him. It's just coming back to him that he can remember everything. And let me ask you this: gentlemen, how long does it take to shoot just this little scene of you guys together in the shuttle?
How long did it take to shoot that scene?
How long did it take that scene? You know, we were actually on it. I mean, from the start to finish. I mean, the lighting and everything is majority of the time, the lighting and the setup. And we shot probably 3 or 4 angles. So it took several hours.
Wow.
How easy was it to start off working with him, or had you worked with him before as an actor? Not just 3 himself, but
Anthony.
You know, there's always I can't say really too much on chemistry, but you know, it's easy to work with one person than another. How did that go off for you off the jump?
No, he put together a great group, and honestly, they're all such a pleasure to work with, and with everyone, it was so interesting because a lot of the personality that Joe would figure out as we went along, as you'll see, he goes, "Ooh, you're kind of like this," and so Joe's quite the talented writer, so he would adapt things to suit us a little bit more, and Anthony can be a bit of a sarcastic kind of bull in a china shop type deal. So he kind of loved playing that character, and so he loved just kind of touching things and flicking things, and so it was a natural thing. And we had a lot of fun working together. We each had our own unique relationships, and we were this oddball group of people thrown together, and really loved it.
That kind of goes really well with the question I had, which was, did you spend any time just flipping all the switches on set? I want to see what does this one do on the shuttle? It does nothing, but still,
Well, that scene there, it looked like you got Dad in the one seat, and then you got the little kid next to him who's 4 years old trying to drive the car because he's so small compared to you.
No, that was funny. I mean, we did flick around the switches, but I'm also in real life, I'm a pilot. And so just some of the things where they would put the throttle controls and stuff, I actually had them change a few things to make it look more like a real cockpit, and they were actually cool about doing it. And so that was a lot of fun. And then we just make up sequences that I'd use for different, starting the ship and things like that. So that was a lot of fun to play with.
What do you fly, Roger? I used to fly myself too.
Did you? I was a commercial pilot. I had my Class 1 multi-IFR rating. That was my original.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
And we see here that 3 is asking you to just to everybody recall, 3 wants you to kind of rank everybody in far as badness, and he says you're in right after him on number 2 as far as being a badass, and I wanted to ask Joe, it's very interesting because he says at first he says, well, 1 and 5 are tied for the last place. And then he corrects himself and he goes, you know what? I'd put 1 after 5 because 5 is a bad temper. And we're not going to talk spoilers, but there's things. Are there things in that statement, Joe, that say things about 1?
Well, they more say things about 3 and the fact that he instantly does not like 1. And part of it is just his character and the fact that 1 comes across as really kind of a annoyingly good individual, where sort of 6 is more grounded and you know, he's firm and logical, but obviously has a big heart. 1 is kind of annoying. And as I said, it says something about 3, but it also says something, hints at something more, that basically almost subconsciously you get the sense that 1 who is supposed to be this badass is clearly not. And you posit the question, why?
Interesting.
You know, I'm going to try and fix this microphone thing. 1 sec, guys. All right, I'll be back.
Sure.
All right.
Joe, I was wondering, since they all have their memories gone, are their personalities, their base personalities from before being wiped out, are those still in existence and they're just going to discover themselves? I once knew a girl who was in a car accident and she lost her memory entirely. And she couldn't even remember who her parents were or anything. But she was such a sweet person. And she told me that the psychologist that she had to go to said that that was her base personality. And that everything that she had been, all her memories, which memories are who we all actually are, were gone. So she had to recreate everything. She couldn't remember anything, but she was still a sweet person.
I thought there was going to be a plot twist there where she turned into a murderer, and that could write its own series by itself.
But that's very interesting, James, because in my mind, I thought they do have their personality templates to a certain point, and it's almost later in the series, one of the characters starts talking about muscle memory and the fact that he knows how to use a gun, and it's the character of 1 in the first episode talks about the fact, well, our memories obviously haven't been totally wiped, or else I wouldn't be able to speak to you. I couldn't communicate with you. I wouldn't know what a ship was, what a pod was. So there is some sort of a baseline understanding, and I think with it comes the very basic building blocks of your personality. But I find it very interesting that you actually knew someone who, in essence, proved that.
Yeah, she could, she didn't instantly have a new language that popped up or anything. She was perfectly intelligent. She knew things, but she had no prior knowledge of anything or anybody. I asked her if she had ever been to Disneyland when she was a child. She said her parents said so. She had pictures, photo albums, but she couldn't remember any of it. And it was just, I found it intriguing and sort of frightening at the same time that, who are we without our memories?
Yeah.
All right. I switched phones. Did that work better?
Yeah, you fixed
better.
it. Thanks, Roger.
Okay. All right.
Let me just really quickly say that thank you, Ensign Ricky, for your super chat earlier, and he was really stoked that Roger and Joe are both here. And Zoe Palmer is in a TV series in Canada called Jan. Zoe plays Jan Arden's sister. I can download it on Canadian iTunes, US iTunes. I don't know. If anybody knows this, help John in the chat. If anybody knows the answer to this, anybody on the panel know the answer?
I think you can download it on Canadian iTunes. Pretty sure.
Yeah, he said that, but he's not sure about the US one, is what it says, I think.
Oh, okay. I don't know about the US then.
Yeah.
Get a VPN?
Yeah, there you go.
That's how I've been watching Doctor Who, so.
Is that legal? All right.
Everything's legal in South Dakota.
Okay.
Dakota.
South Dakota. I'm gonna
Pirates sail the high seas. Sailing the high seas.
No, she doesn't. She's just joking around.
I'm too much of a goody.
I had a question for you, Joseph. I have heard it said and seen in some instances where when there's higher drama, like this one does, because there's a whole battle that goes on, that sometimes before and after a writer will add comedy to kind of take some of the stress off. And I noticed the second episode, like we were just on the ship, there was a lot of comedy. there was a droid where she says, "But I can smell that." You know, the little bits of comedy. Was that intentional, or was that just you releasing more personalities out?
No, it's really both. I mean, good dialogue obviously conveys personality, and I think we discussed in the last episode that I've always been a big fan of humor that goes a long way towards allowing audiences to connect with characters. So one of the things that was actually very important to me in casting was to ensure that all of the actors could do humor, and even though they're very funny in very different ways. Roger is funny in a different way that Anthony is funny, is a different way that Melissa is funny. So humor is really important. I also find that those moments of lightness, by contrast, make those darker moments all that much darker.
True.
Roger, how is your character funny, or how are you funny with your character?
Because he takes himself too seriously at times. I think that's what it is. He takes himself so seriously at times, and then I think he's also very subtle about it. So if he does make a joke, sometimes people don't quite get it because he's not supposed to make these jokes because he's too serious. So I think that's more Six's style. Yeah,
Six's style is definitely more sort of a subtle humor, and he's often he's kind of reacting or critiquing the other crew members, usually three, but doing it with like a look or like an
exactly. Yeah, so but that was great. You also let us play a little bit, which was a lot of fun too.
Yeah,
you guys let us play, so if we got out of control, then you guys go whoa, but you guys let us play, so that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, but I mean, the actors would always bring something great. Like I was just saying, how Anthony would always be like, "I want to eat in this scene," or "Can I do this?" and I'd say 9 times out of 10, I would say, "Great," and then just give me what I need, and then do what you want. And 9 times out of 10, it would stay in the cut.
Yeah.
Can you name, Roger, one moment that you recall that you really felt grateful that you were able to ad lib and it was included in the final cut?
One of the funnier moments was as a joke in the later episodes where I'm riding that bicycle that was a little too small for me.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a joke that I was like, what if the seat's down too low and my knees are hyped up? And they go, "Oh, that's really funny," and whatever. And so we did it, and then all of a sudden, like, our stunt coordinator's like, "Make it even lower." I'm like, "I can barely move right now. It's like it's up, my foot's up here." I meant that joke just a little bit. They go, no, do it. And so we got it seat really low, and I'm trying to pedal this thing, and that was a lot of fun.
That is actually my favorite cutaway in the entire show's run. But we'll get to that.
We'll have to see that when it comes up.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
We see here that the Joe has been breaking off the characters in the little groups, and I skipped it, but we saw 5 briefly with the android and talking about how she wanted to fit in, and we see 2 and 1 here having a moment where she kind of reasserts her. Dominance. Her leadership, her dominance, and I wanted to ask Joe. And sometimes it feels like she's treating 1 as a mimbo. Is there a little bit of that as a male bimbo?
Well, this is, in my mind, is the quintessential 2 scene, where she has no patience for the bullshit. Is really what it comes down to. And she tells them, when he tries to call her on it, she shuts him down immediately and basically tells him, "Look, I'm in charge because I stepped up and no one stopped me. So unless you want to step up, instead of criticizing me, help yourself. If not, then shut up." And that's her in a nutshell.
True.
Joe, do you want to really quickly answer that? We talked briefly about 5 and the android talking, and I'm going to put up the picture. And we have Gaps, Stargate, and Corrine commenting about it. About how we paired them off, and 5 and the android asks 5 if she's okay.
how I paired them off or why? I mean,
I mean, more along Kareen's question. If I was wondering if anything was changed, you worked through.
Well, I mean, as Roger said, although I had the series planned out in terms of the arcs, when it comes down to writing the dialogue and you know what goes on in the scenes, I would take my lead from the actors after a while. I mean, you would write the script, and then you would see what the actors would bring to the roles, and it's a very much a very collaborative production where they take what's on in the script and bring their own. Yeah, they personalize it, and you see what you like. And Roger's really great at this. I'm going to write more of this for him, and that's how you sort of tweak and you craft these characters. So, I mean, a lot of the times you think, it's all on the page, and it all is eventually on the page. But unless you're in a production, you don't really know how collaborative it is between the writer, the actor, and the director as well.
Yeah. And that's what makes it like a show like this special as well. That you have that collaboration. And if we had a problem working out a scene, we'd go, listen, this isn't quite working for me, but wouldn't it be better if my character did certain things? And in most cases, they'd be like, oh yeah, that's true. But some cases they'd go, that's what you kind of go. That's.
Well, it's funny because we would always have our read-throughs.
Yes.
And then after the read-throughs, the actors were always free to come by my office and discuss. And Roger always took advantage.
Yeah.
Not a bad way. Not a bad way. He was always very good about, I don't know, why would my character do this? Or maybe I should say this instead. And we would always talk it out. And it was always great. I mean, my door was always open. And I know that it's not always the case. I've had actors who I've worked with who've worked on other productions where they'll say they want to change like a word, the to an, and they'll have to call up to the producer to get the okay, and it's this whole deal. And for me, at the end of the day, as long as the spirit of the scene is achieved, then I'm happy.
Mm. There you go.
And we want to read really quick, John Burns. Thank you for your super chat, John Burns. I have a photo with Roger and Melissa at the Calgary Comic Expo. Roger held up a comic bubble with F&A on it. Speaking of fun memories, thanks, says John Burns.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Melissa and I out in Calgary, her hometown, and so we had a great time out there. We even got a little parade, and we were in the back of a Mini Cooper and going by doing the Queen's Wave, and it was a blast. We spent a few days there, and they treated us great. They had everything going for us, and we had fun.
Do you go to a lot of comic book conventions?
I don't. I pick one or two that I'll go to occasionally, and I love the one in London. Those guys in
MCM
Minnesota were great, and MCM they were great. And I said we did this Calgary one, and I've only done a few. I mean, of course, we did Comic-Con the first season, and I've done a Dragon Con, and so those are just monster shows, and it's just a lot of work. But those are great to go to. But yeah, I'll only do it occasionally. I have a pretty busy schedule, and I have a family, so I can't be gone every weekend like I know some people can do. But I'm like, I just can't do that.
Drag them along and make them cosplay.
Yeah, that's true. We did that. I remember one of the years down at Comic-Con where, we were a funny story. We were doing with Dark Matter, Dark Horse comic. So we were at the Dark Horse booth. And as we were leaving the Dark Horse, doing it with Guillermo del Toro was walking by. And of course, we know each other from the strain. So we were having a wonderful conversation and going, hey, catching up a little bit. And Vanessa, who was one of our producers on Dark Matter, had my family with them, and she just came pulling through, get out of the way, moving everyone out of the way, whatever. Roger, here's your family. She kind of like just pushed Guillermo aside, and I'm like, oh, Vanessa, this is Guillermo del Toro, and she kind of turned and went, oh. just kind of but without missing a beat. Guillermo looked at her and goes, "She thought I was Michael Moore," and, and it was a brilliant moment. It was just one of those fun moments. But yeah, so they've been through the madness, and yeah, it's fun.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Joe, because YouTube is so fluid and the streams are so fluid, and sometimes people are joining us who haven't joined us before. Do you want to? C. Smith says, "I miss this show so much. Are there any plans to bring back Dark Matter comic book in any fashion anywhere?"
Not a comic book. Unfortunately, Dark Matter didn't really want to continue the series. As I keep saying, doing another season is unlikely, but I haven't given up hope of a potential miniseries somewhere down the lines when the stars align.
Okay. And what about Nate? Nate with a follow up. He asked about a Dark Matter movie. Is that any?
I would prefer a miniseries because there's a lot to pack in. But if they offer me a movie, I would be happy to do the movie. Hopefully, we can get Roger Cross because he's very expensive, but worth it.
But wait a sec, Joe. Food. Food is the way to me.
Yes, it's true.
Just give him a real small bike and a big sandwich.
There you go. See. No, Kevin, she's a great cook. I mean, she even made like some Jamaican food for me before. That was delicious.
Oh.
I remember that.
You said that.
Yeah, you remember that.
And Corrine asks, Roger, are you up for a fan film? And what is the policy of including a standing actor in a fan film, Joe?
It really depends on the production. I just think that you'll be hard pressed if the conventions can't get Roger Cross. I think a fan film would be very hard pressed to land him. He's always like going from one production to the next production to the next production.
It's busy. I mean, as Joe said, it all depends on the production and that sort of thing. But yeah, if Joe tells me something is great, I would trust Joe on it and go then things like that. So
we see here that 4, and I love when writers do this because we're learning about 4's personality, and he's describing how swords are better for close combat than guns, and we're going to see that he proves this later on in the episode. Is there anything you want to say about this scene, Joe?
No, this is like you said, it essentially foreshadows a scene that happens later on that, I have to say this. In reviewing the episodes, it's always tough because you're always like, this could have been, I should have done this, or I wish we had more time with this. So there are always those moments. And one of those moments is the decapitation scene that so much preparation went into it. And in the end, it didn't turn out the way I had envisioned it.
Yeah.
But in any case.
Gotcha. Okay. And actually, we will get to that. Joe has given us some pictures to share about the decapitation.
That's not something you hear on an everyday stream, but okay.
And they can't show too much gore, so I think that was one of her limitations there too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's weird though, because we had limitations in terms of, I think, cursing.
Yeah.
Where basically they allowed it, but they were like, "There's, you can only say it 5 times in an episode."
Yeah.
And I think violence as well. Although they at the same time they ran some other shows that were actually incredibly like visceral and violent in comparison to ours. So it was strange.
I have a question about the android.
Sure.
I'm thinking she's quite dangerous. The reason I'm thinking this is because she says that she can see the muscle twitches, smell the pheromones.
And she beat us up.
Yeah.
A shark, a great white shark. A shark can sense everything about you in the water. Electrical impulses, any smells, everything. A shark can read you, and I'm thinking she's a shark.
She is, and she certainly is perhaps the most dangerous member of the crew. So hopefully they stay on our good side.
Now I'm worried because I really like her character.
Yes.
For anyone who's new to the... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
She's a badass.
She is.
See, I'm watching this show for the first time week by week as we do the stream. So I'm completely new to this. Like, okay, I ship these two characters. I like this one. I'm going to cosplay this one. And I have a feeling the rug's just going to be pulled out from under me.
No.
I'm curious. Who are you shipping?
1 and 2.
Huh.
I don't know why. I feel there's a vibe there, but I've never been good at telling vibes. So
Okay. Okay.
Most people pick Jodell's character.
Yeah.
For her 2 and 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I could see that. I don't know. Something about 1 and 2. They're already next to each other numerically, so might as well just make it work.
Oh, there you go.
That's a scientist in me.
My favorite though was when I was in, I believe, was it? Oh, I'm so sorry. I think it was Philly, and I had the 9-year-old girl that dressed as 6, and that was she was really cool.
Oh, really?
Like a girl of the weekend, yeah. She was really
Amazing.
a lot of fun, yeah.
Awesome.
Wow, 9-year-old girl.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I got a question for you, Roger, if you don't mind. There's this scene when there's the whole battle's going on. Everyone's taking on these guys, and you're just standing back watching the whole thing like the layabout. I'm thinking, what the heck? The first couple times I watched them going, the first time, but I knew after that. But it's like, get in there and do something. And then I was wondering what was going through your mind to act that part out, because you were thinking, or at least it came off on screen, instead of just watching it and analyzing, you were actually thinking the character wise, not you personally, but that I'm up for self-sacrifice to stop all of this. What was going through your head? Because once you brought those lines, I was going, oh yeah, that makes sense. It totally fits the scene. Where before that, we're thinking, why doesn't this guy have a gun? He's just standing there. I'm just trying to pick an actor's brain.
Yeah, that was a scene where basically you're standing and you're watching everyone, like training everyone, like basically 3 showing them how to use a gun, and 1 is showing them self-defense, and 4 is doing the same thing. And basically you're thinking and watching them, and then the next scene you're like, I'm gonna sacrifice myself by flying the Marauder into the ship.
Yeah. I think that's it. He's looking at everyone trying to do all these different things, and he's like, it's not gonna work. And it's great that they're trying it, but I know ultimately what needs to be done. And so for me, it's kind of like that, almost the fatalism in a sense, fatalistic way of looking at things, going like, this is what needs to happen. There's no point in going on about it or getting emotional and blah, blah, blah. Just do it.
It always fascinates me how, like, you were able to do this right on the money, where you're able to take what the scene is and make your eyes and face do all the acting without saying a word. I just wonder how. I mean, most of us can't do that, obviously, because we're not actors. But
how?
Honestly,
for me, it's more it's the backstory, and the backstory that I have going for me personally is generally in each scene. Where am I at in the scene? What's happening to my character? What's happening with me? And how do I feel about it? And then I try and tell that person's story, because that's ultimately my job, is to tell this character's story. And so this character in this moment has certain attachments, and he deals with things a different way. Now, if he was like a more hysterical character, then he might be, oh my God, I don't know, and all that. You know what I mean? It's just you define your character, and then you stick to it, and then you stick that character. How would it react in that particular situation? And basically, the backstory. I said what's underneath the line is a lot more important, or the scene, as you said, without using words, is more critical than what actually comes out of my mouth, in a sense. And so that's just it carries those words out of you, in a sense. Well,
I just have to applaud you for that scene, because I figured, not being an actor, to be able to tell the story without saying a word, just by how you hold yourself and your face and your eyes and everything. I was extremely impressed. It was a phenomenal scene, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It was all Joe. Maybe I'll just say it's all Joe. Joe wrote it. Said you stoically look.
Yeah, I said act like this.
Yes, there you go. I love when Joe does that. Joe, come on, do a 6.
Yeah.
And Roger, as you grow into your character, how much of Roger Cross is in 6? Are there parts of Roger Cross in 6?
Well, there's parts of you in every character, right? Because it's you telling the story, but you try and keep yourself and your judgment out of it in a sense, because it's not Roger's story, it's Six's story. You know what I mean? And like in this character area in Continuum or in, you know, Coroner or any of these, it's that character, it's not me. If you know what I mean. You set this character up, and I need to stay true to those characters, and so I do that. Now, yes, you know, the way I laugh, the way I talk, it's me, but it's still within that character of how they do things. If Six was as goofy as me, it'd be very strange, because as Joe know, I may be a little goofy in real life. And then
It is true.
So I mean, it's not. That's more about the character.
And thank you, John Burns, for your $5 Canadian super chat. And we appreciate it. And we move on to the scene. There's a brief scene here with 5 and 2, where something that 5 is going to finish saying to 2 at the very end of the episode. She starts explaining that the memory loss is not an accident.
Yeah.
And do you want to mention anything about how that revelation, Joe?
About
the revelation of how they're going to learn that, because right now they're thinking, well, it was a mishap, it was an accident, it was whatever. And is there anything about the way you wanted to reveal that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've always been a big fan of shows with twists, turns, shocks, and surprises, but invariably I find a lot of them just hold on to their answers for way too long. And so I sought to create a show with many questions. And one of the overriding questions for the first season anyways was, who wiped their memories? And that becomes kind of the background mystery that drives this first season and ultimately ends up getting answered. So, you kind of want to do it in a kind of a subtle way and build. And that's what happens here. She mentions it here, and then they get distracted, and then we come back to it, as you mentioned in episode's end, and 5 puts a finer point on it.
Joe's many onion layers.
Yes, layers upon layers.
Yes.
And I do have to point this out to everyone, especially to Joe, that Joe, we had tremendous public, how do I explain it? A very positive response to the idea that if Dark Season, that little post that I did kind of as a hypothetical joke of season 4 and having Joe come on as an evil villain, number 7. Number 7. We had a very positive response to that, Joe.
I like that.
Yeah,
I could totally see
I'll
that.
put that 3-piece on, and he can come in as one of those corporate leaders, you know.
Bubba.
I'm very expensive though, so I don't know if they could afford me.
But anyway, I think the fans love that that you let us share that post, Joe. So thank you. That picture.
Yeah, no problem.
And we do want to take some more questions today from the chat. So of course,
that's it. Someone made a point there. The android's kind of considered 7, so Joe 8.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I can kind of envision it now, like your pod just wasn't discovered when they all woke up, and you've just been sleeping through the entire show.
Yeah, I like to sleep, so it's perfect.
And he's the real badass, and he comes on and kicks all our butts with the android.
Of course.
Yes.
Did the actors know? I may have missed you explaining that, Joe. Did the actors know who the memory wipe?
The actors, I kept the actors in the dark. And Roger, don't spoil anything, because basically they're watching the episodes as they go along.
Yes.
But there's a huge reveal at the end of the season.
Yes.
And I held that scene till the very end. And even though it was written into the script, I kept it vague enough in the script that the actors didn't even know who was going to be revealed at the end.
Yeah.
And I have film that I'll bring for the finale discussion, in which I gather the actors before the scene is shot and reveal and give them the big reveal before they go off and shoot the scene, and that was a lot of fun. So I think the actors had 7 to 9 scripts before we even got into production. So
he had us all guessing and discussing who he's going to make do this and who's really going to be doing that, and it was and he took great pleasure in it. He even had several of us go for different wardrobe fittings to throw us off the trail. He was sneaky. He was sneaky.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah,
put them on their toes.
And here we see more of Roger in this picture. And does this say anything, Roger, about your character? And then we'll see what Joe says. That the fact that you're, about who you used to be, the fact that you apprehend this individual and instead of killing him, do you think it foreshadows at all in any way?
I think most definitely it foreshadows the base nature of each character, because even though your memory's wiped, we all have lingering. Our base character is still there, and so which is why, if you think about it, our initial thought was from all of us was kind of like, oh, we're here to actually help these people, and it's kind of like at the end, no, you're not nice people, and you're not here to actually help. So that whatever, I guess, sense memory of self, the memory of self is still there somewhere. Base characters.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so we can't say too much, because now you're going to give it away, because people haven't watched that yet. No,
No spoilers.
no spoilers.
Did you want to add anything, Joe?
No, I mean that's exactly it. It's I knew where the story was headed, so I love the fact that audiences who rewatch the show will be able to pick up on the clues that they may not have been cognizant the first time. Yeah.
Guys, everybody in the audience, I know you guys appreciate that. I hope you guys, Joe and Roger, realize how much of a treat this is to go through the episode with you guys like this. Really, it is.
Thanks for having us, man. This was a lot of fun.
And as I bring up,
I'm still a huge fan of the show. Going through it, I think I said this 5th time, maybe this time. But having both of you on, explaining the experience, I mean, it's almost like going through it for the first time. And I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people in chat. This is a big thrill. It really is. You're making our day.
Oh man, happy to be here. I remember this scene, her in her tunnels.
Yeah, this was the last scene we shot of season 1. Because it was a second unit scene. It was like a small scene, and it was directed by our stunt coordinator, John Stead, and we created this labyrinth of tunnels, and it was just an hour or two of Jodelle crawling one way, turning one way, going the other way. And I think we had her, I think she was on a skateboard, so that she could actually crawl easier rather than scuff up.
That's right.
Her,
yeah, so she could slide. Yeah, that's true, because it was tough sometimes.
Yeah.
And we see here that 5 is using her time because she's hiding, because the captain of the Ferris Corps has boarded, and she's 2 tells her to hide, and she's using this time to as we see in the next picture that I'm going to put up. She's using this time to go through 4's quarters.
Mm-hmm.
Or
she went to everyone's quarters.
Now,
Eventually,
did she?
She did, that little snake.
You'll find out in episode 3.
Oops. Oh, I'm not supposed to. Okay. Sorry.
Now, Joe,
stop talking.
When she goes to 4's quarters, is it that she is curious because she's sharing some of the memories with her crewmates? Is it curiosity, or is she investigating?
She essentially falls back to her instinctive personality that we talked about earlier. The fact that
She's had to look out for herself.
Yes,
she can't trust people.
Right. And so she drops in, not because she happened to know that it was Forrest's room, but it was the first room she was able to access. And she thought, oh, this is interesting. This is the only way I can actually access this room. Let's make the most of it.
Yeah.
And again, her accessing the room, her looking around also is a subtle hint to her past, which we will reveal in time.
So I kind of thought that she's walking down the hall, then she looks up and she sees the vent, crawls up in there. And I was thinking that of all the crew, that she's probably the only one who is completely familiar with the HVAC system and the vents and where to go, and nobody else does. So I'm thinking that she has a greater tie with the ship, the Rasa, than any of the others. That's, my thought at this time regarding her. That
Interesting. Interesting theory, and it definitely does suggest that she has been in those vents before.
Yes.
That's all we can say.
The gears are going to be turning, and I think I'm going to have to watch more episodes tonight. I've been trying to keep it to like one a week, to stay, with it. It's making it very hard.
You're like, no, I hate being left in the dark.
And I do want to point out that before you guys kicked everybody's ass on the surface and you get into the scene, you guys did try diplomacy.
Yes.
Especially one did try diplomacy with the Ferris Corp. And let me just read this real quick. Although there were 3 seasons of 5, 3 seasons. Although there were 3 seasons of 5.
Well, 4 seasons were planned.
Oh, okay. Dearest, I really Commander Truffaut. She's been on. Okay, yeah. So John Burns is a Truffaut fan.
Yeah, I'm a Truffaut fan. I thought that Tori Higginson
Tori's great.
is terrific. Yeah.
Thank you again, John Burns. Thank you. Thank you for your super chat. And we see here that you guys are on board. And now again, are you the only one on the crew who can fly the shuttle then?
Well, I guess instinctually it turned out my character was more the pilot guy because he got in there when he felt very much at home and he knew what everything did. So I guess he was the chief pilot, if you will. But other people I'm sure could fly it. Not 3, of course, because he's just,
Not 3.
Is
yeah,
that a puppy?
Oh yeah, Sachi Suji. I just took off her New Orleans Saints jersey.
Yes, Saints.
because they stink right now. What?
Oh my gosh.
What was that?
I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
Wow. Wow. My dog is going to bite you the next time she sees you.
I'm a Seahawks fan, but no.
There you go. See, I'm from Michigan, so I have no legs to stand on when it comes to NFL.
Go Lions to the locker room.
Totally get rid of the Lions, make them the Kalamazoo Kangaroos. You're going to get way more views.
If they're talking about getting rid of Patricia, are they? Are they talking
about the what?
Getting rid of the coach down in Detroit?
Yeah.
Every year they talk about getting rid of somebody.
Canada can have it.
And this is Roger getting captured.
Ooh.
Now, there's a moment here of irony, Joe, that if no good deed goes unpunished because this is the same person he captured.
Yeah. But then again, you could say no good deed goes unpunished, but essentially by capturing him and thwarting his attempt to blow up the Ferris Corp ship, he is saving Six's life.
Exactly.
So it does work out.
So it does, yeah, exactly. It was that. That's true. That's
true. Very true. Yeah.
Such witty writing. So clever.
Wow.
And I do like Four's method of interrogation, even though we never saw it. But when in that scene, we get to see there is a lot to him, even though he's quiet. He knows quite a bit.
He's menacing. That was actually the scene that got Alex Millar Jr. the part. He auditioned for that scene, and I remember he didn't have the sword in his audition, but he he had kind of a quiet menace about him. I think he was just putting on a pair of leather gloves throughout that scene where he's talking about, how cathartic torture someone would be. And I just thought that's R4.
That's him. That's good.
Like a good proctologist.
Yeah.
You went there. All right.
Now, Joe, do you want to tell us real quick a little bit about the special effects on this? Because this was a very cool shot. Because that's his gun, Baba, named after my old pug, Baba, and his sidearm was Lulu, named after my French bulldog, Lulu. And this is 3 finally getting to the hang of this gun. And our visual effects supervisor, Lauren Bancroft Wilson. I think this first season we were working with Atmosphere in Vancouver. And so, I mean, like any great sci-fi weapon, you want to have some sort of a blast wave. And, you see him showing off. In the end, even though he figures out how to actually operate it, he never really figures out how to fully charge the weapon. So you'll notice that throughout the season, he'll often find himself kind of tapped out.
Yeah.
Now, Joe, it seemed to me when I was watching this, and maybe I did it really quick, but it seems like the actor is coming down, and then all of a sudden he's moving away because he's got blasted.
Yeah.
How involved was that process, and how did you guys do it?
Obviously a stunt. It was again our amazing stunt coordinator John Stead and a stuntman, and I believe it was a ratchet pull.
It was a ratchet pull. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's the character is essentially ratcheted back with a wire, and then the wire is removed through the magic of visual effects. So it looks like he's essentially being repulsed.
Yeah.
Which is why we have stunt people, because that on the body is not fun.
Yeah.
Especially if you do it a few times.
Ooh. Now, when I watched it, I just kind of thought, being the scientific mind, I was like, that's internal bleeding.
Yeah.
Like the angle that made.
That man is, yes.
Dead.
He will die. No.
Joe, a lot of the things you hear in the chat and online from the fans is that Joe Mallozzi did so much with a limited budget. Why not give him Game of Thrones money?
Oof.
So,
well, yes, why not? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's really all about efficiencies and being prepared. Like I said, we had like about 9 scripts ready to go. As an experienced producer, I know how to produce on the page, meaning, I'm not going to write 12 different disparate locations and waste money that way. I want to make sure that the money ends up on screen with, visual effects or cool guest stars. So it's really it all comes down to efficiencies. And that just comes down to experience.
Well, that's great about you're a producer as well as a writer. It's not just a writer who's just writing, okay, I'm going to write this because I want this. But you realistically, because you produce as well, you say, no, well, we can't do that. I'd love to.
Yeah, exactly. So you tend to write smaller, let's say, moments and scenes so that you can save up for the bigger scenes or the bigger episodes.
Yeah.
It's not to say like the smaller episodes are bad. I mean, the bottle shows tend to be the more character-driven episodes that fans love. So.
And we love it too because you let us do our thing. So
yeah.
And we put up that picture.
I've heard it often said that smaller budgets bring out more creativity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's true because you can't just throw money at it. And you've seen shows where sometimes they just have too much money and it turns out to be a mess because they're no longer, thinking, as he said, being efficient.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, nobody. Nobody's thinking episode 9 here. John, we put up that picture for you. Yeah, naming the guns. Pip.
Yeah. Pip was Anthony's neighbor's dog. So basically, that was the three guns were all named after dogs.
Were they like just vicious dogs or adorably cuddly
No, they're
ones?
pugs. A pug, a French bulldog, and I'm not sure what it was.
Do you know this? Do you understand this question, Joe?
Can we ask you about the Savior's necklace? Well, there's a point in the episode where one is lying down in his room and he finds a necklace, which he finds curious, and then he goes down to the surface of the planet and he sees a woman wearing the same necklace, and she's like, well, it was given to me by Hrothgar, her friend, who said that when the people who would come to deliver the weapons came to the planet, they would be wearing the same necklace. So at first he thinks, oh, well, obviously we were the people who were supposed to deliver the weapons. And then afterwards, after the revelation of the first episode, he realizes, actually, no, we probably killed those people, took their weapons and this necklace.
We were not the sweet people, saviors that we thought we were.
Right.
Joe, just before, because I don't want to forget this question. It was left over from last episode. I think it's a very general question for the whole series.
Yeah.
Can you discuss a little bit what the look and the logistics of hyperspace in the dark matter universe? What made you guys go this way? Or
we just wanted something unique. I mean, every show has done hyperspace and FTL, and it's really a variation. Everything from the jump to the FTL look. We just kind of wanted to create something that maybe we hadn't really seen before. And this is a lot, very much Lauren Bancroft-Wilson, who's our visual effects supervisor for 3 seasons. He came up with this look and kind of this, it's almost like they're flying through this starless, stormy night. So there's kind of that suggested violence almost behind it, but at the same time, there's almost something kind of soothing about it as well.
And I bet the lightning is something just good that makes off something innate in Katie go, wow. The fact that there's like this lightning in the hyperspace.
Anytime that weather shows up in any form, I am there.
We know how to get you excited. Okay.
Oh, yeah. You even have like a couple of leaves spinning around in a circle in the back of a shot. I'm there.
Ooh, all right.
Joe, there's this once I saw this picture and this is at the kind of toward the end of the episode. Once I saw this, this picture, the scene. When I saw this, I automatically thought, Butch and Sundance. I saw this,
in fact, I refer to it as a Butch Sundance moment.
Yes.
okay.
Exactly.
I remember this.
Yeah. This was at the. This was actually a water plant, right?
Yeah.
Roger, I think in
Really
massive water. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of my questions.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a water filtration plant. I remember we were walking through it during the scout, and they were like, by the way, if there's some sort of like, I don't know, like they were saying like a chemical spill or a chlorine spill, you'll hear the alarms. Head for the nearest exit, and I was like, "Holy!"
And they had different kind of alarms, right? For different.
Yes.
Things. Yeah, they had different kind of alarms if it's a different thing, and we're like, "Okay, yeah."
Wow, and to follow up on Adega, or if you want to finish asking the question, Adega, I wanted to ask just how much did you have to do to the plant to make it viable for the shooting?
Really, not that much. I mean, obviously. Set deck and the production and the art department added signage and stuff, but we chose the location because it had a great look. So we shot the hell out of it. There was this main room, but there was always those kind of little weird access corridors that you see the guards come running through. TJ Scott was the director of this episode. There were just so many beautiful shots, especially there's that shot at the end. First, Roger standing in the rain, moving off, and then Mark Ben David, his final shot standing in the rain and moving off. I thought that was a beautiful, beautiful frame.
And actually, in this scene was one of those fun moments where we kind of played around with it, where when they came up with the guns, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
That came on the fly.
Yes.
That's one of those, like, we should just goof around like they're going to shoot. I'm like, oh, no, don't shoot me.
No.
And so that was a lot of fun, and that stayed in the picture.
Yeah, that was like a funny moment. Yes.
Yeah.
And did you guys do a lot of shooting on location, finding these really weird, cool niche spots, or like, because haven't seen the whole thing, but like, are there going to be more spots like that?
Yeah, I mean, we always tried to kind of mix it up. It would be a mix of our standing sets, new sets that were built by our production designer Ian Brock and his team, and occasionally we'd go out and shoot on locations, and that was. Always a challenge being able to try to find a place that looked futuristic enough
yeah.
in Hamilton, Ontario.
Yeah.
Now, Roger, are you, before we get to the final images of the episode, I wanted to ask you, do you have any aspirations, and I didn't notice exactly if you had already done something but behind the camera. Do you have any aspirations to work off camera, behind the camera?
Definitely. I mean, I've written some things, and there's some things that we're trying to get going, and hopefully you'll hear about them sooner than later.
Oh wow!
Some things in the works. So, yeah.
If you need anyone to read your script,
yes,
some tough love.
Don't
hesitate.
I know. I'm scared of that, but yes. Yeah.
What can we ask at least? What genre is it that you're working on? Is it sci-fi or is it?
It's more drama, but it's
okay.
it's drama.
Cool.
All of a sudden, the comment section just goes insane.
Where was the oddest place you filmed? That's a good one. I have to say, with Bulgaria, it was a great experience. And speaking of creepy old warehouses, they literally had this place that it was straight. It's probably from, I don't know, 5th century or something. It was like just ancient and old, this old like built thing in the middle of it. Like it was this metal thing that was just there in the middle of it. And it was a lot of fun. And we were able to get a real tank and a real helicopter to do on that film, because they were like busted up old Russian
really?
stuff that they got for the shoot. Yeah.
Huh.
It was crazy. And it was cheaper to buy the old helicopter than to make a mock-up like we would do for a film.
So what who got the helicopter once you wrapped?
You know,
right.
I said, can I buy this thing? And they probably have to disarm it and then ship it back. But probably wouldn't let me ship it back over.
Roger, we were seriously, just before you joined us, we were seriously discussing doing a GoFundMe to get Katie a tank for her tornado chasing.
I want to switch to a helicopter now, much faster.
But the helicopter get the tank solid. You know, it's not going to get picked up by any winds.
Fair point. I'm gonna have to consider this. Maybe we could do 2.
Yeah, there you go. Unless it's, oh my god, remember Airwolf? I'm dating myself. No,
I was born in 1996, so most things I don't get.
Great show.
Airwolf helicopter. There you go.
Now, Joe, how excited do you think the fans were to see this scene of Tori joining Dark Matter in episode 2 already? I mean, I think it probably went crazy in their homes.
Yeah, I mean, I think whenever there's a crossover, people are always thrilled. I mean, people always will send me those photos of you, Roger, in your first SG1 appearance, where you look like, what were you, 12?
I know. That's like.
So, I mean, as I said, I kind of wrote this role for Tori. I knew she would be great in it, and she really hit it out of the park. I like the fact that her character has a bit of Mae West in her. And, as I said, the fact that it was supposed to be a 3-episode gig, and then
it turned into more.
It turned into more because she couldn't make the 3rd episode where I had intended to kill her off. So she was actually going to a con, and she's like, I'll just cancel the con. And I'm like, well, don't cancel the con, because I know, the actors make a lot of money at these cons. And I was like, look, it's a small scene, so I promise we come back for season 2. I'll just bring you back for season 2. And so she went to the con. She did 2 episodes, and then because her character lived, she ended up coming back for
She
more.
conned you.
Yeah, exactly.
You fell for it, Joe. She's like, yeah, oh, I can't make it. Oh,
So she wouldn't get killed off.
exactly.
Again, it's one of those things where I like seeing the depth of actors or actresses. Where she seemed in Atlantis, she was more of the persuader leader. Where here she's like, "You want my heel in your face? Or are you going to cooperate?"
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Joe, do we see the actor who plays the other captain, the other commander? Do we see him at all again in the series?
We do not.
We do not. Okay. Gotcha. If anybody has, while I look for the next picture, if anybody has a question they want to throw at Roger or Joe.
I have something for Joe. Toward the end of episode 2, we see that 2 is quite the negotiator with the corporate people.
Yes.
And I'm thinking that maybe her past life was she was a corporate lawyer with one of the.
An interesting theory. I will not reveal anything, but obviously there's more to all of these characters than initially meets the eye. In fact, it's something that I was talking about, the fact that when the first episode aired, people were like, these characters are kind of cliche, and kind of purposely so, because they have no backstory. And you want to create those surface impressions where people are like, aha, I know this character already. And then as the series progresses, you begin to kind of undermine those expectations and surprise them. So, yeah.
Now, I do have a question because, episode 2, you're really learning to work with the crew and everything. How many bloopers do you guys have of the first few episodes?
I'm kind of sad because they made a blooper reel of season 1, and then between seasons, they ended up deleting it.
No!
But I ended up, they ended up making blooper reels for 2 and 3, and those I kept, and those I have on files, and those you can find online. Everything from funny crack ups to Roger dancing to Hotline Bling, which we'll save for the finale.
And the sorry reel. Was there that sorry one? Sorry.
What?
Where everyone kept saying sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Very Canadian.
Yes.
And actually,
there was one line in there that made me think a little bit, and I was wondering, we talked a little bit about your universe that you set up, but they were pinned down by the corporation. They said they'll just keep throwing bodies at us. Mm-hmm. What kind of population did you have in mind for this? Is this like a trillion human existence, or
you mean galactic?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. And I'd say about 24 corporations.
Now, we don't have a bloopers reel, but we do have something that Joe has given us that almost fits that description.
What did you do, Joe?
I don't even remember.
I have to mute you guys so you guys can hear it. And maybe Roger can tell us after we watch it what he is singing.
Oh no!
Okay, I'm just muting you guys real quick because it's the only way I can do it right now. One second, and. Let's see. Let me play that again. Roger, what are you singing there?
Oh my God. I think we were doing like, take my hand, make my whole life too. I'm so in love with you. We were just being goofs. I think we sang. It was very strange. We did seem to do almost karaoke all the time. We'd all join in different weird songs. And this moment they happened to sing I Can't Help But Falling in Love with You for some reason. We were singing that. I don't know why.
So we were singing about Bubba, and you just all joined in.
Yeah, I think what happened is like that was the scene where myself, just the four guys, we were there, and we had the gun and we had the pose, and of course TJ was making these beautiful shots, and I think someone might have just said something and said, "Oh yes, I'm so in love with you," and then we just took it and went with it. We tend to do that, and sometimes it's very distracting. And the 80s are going, "Okay, all right, everyone settle down," and we're just singing away, and Joe and them get the reports that these guys sometimes are crazy. We're like, yeah, but we have to have some fun, so we did.
Now, Roger, is it true that Joe and the rest of the production staff got really pissed off at you guys and they got rid of your trailers and had you living like this for a while?
I love that. You see how cruel they are? You see, just for singing, we sang a song and they took it all away and, said, no, you can't go to your hotels either. You have to just live here and do this. So,
Method acting.
Method. Yes. That's a great shot. Oh my God. I mean, remember that. It was so cold up there. It really was cold when we were shooting that. We shot in the worst months in Toronto. We came for season 1. We started in November through March, which is the absolute coldest.
No. It was that factory was so cold that I remember we would scout locations and I think it was like 1 degree Celsius on the day we went to check out the it was cold, and we went into the factory. And that factory, just because it's metal, like a refrigerator in there, I had to go outside in 1 degree weather to warm up.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't stay in here.
It's true. It made it like a refrigerator. So we'd go in there and it would be freezing. And we'd be like,
oh my God. I do have to say this, by the way, guys. It's Thanksgiving today in Canada, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Happy Thanksgiving. And I mean, if we needed to reschedule this, Joe, please do. Please, if something like that happens, I don't want
last 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am because of the whole COVID thing, I couldn't fly back to be with the family this weekend either. So I'm here. And so Joe's like, do it. I'm like, okay, why not? So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
All right.
If you
So
ever
I'll
want
just
to work with me in the future, you will do it, Joe. Or, Roger.
Well, you'll just show a couple more pictures, then we'll wrap it up because you guys need to get back to Turkey and whatever you guys are doing.
Yes.
Or watching football or.
Oh yeah, football.
That's true. 2 games there. No, okay.
Yeah.
Any
How
other
about the
questions?
Lakers, guys? Who watched the game last night?
Ooh, good.
Which game? Seattle?
No, the Lakers. Lakers won the championship. Come on.
Yeah.
Don't hate LeBron, King James.
I don't hate LeBron. I've never liked the Lakers.
Oh, come on.
I gotta be in that boat too. But then again,
you know what?
Michigan.
I'm from the area. I don't like him either.
Oh, okay, all right. Hey, listen. If it wasn't the Raptors, I wanted it to be the Lakers. Okay.
Well,
I'm a
Roger's
LeBron
happy.
fan.
Fair
That's
enough.
you. Oh, that.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Oh, me on top of the SUV, the big military truck.
Yeah, the reverse pistol, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
truck with the 2 guns.
With the 2 guns.
Two gunning it.
I was literally goofing and just kind of going like doing the whole Michael Jackson stomp, right? Yeah.
now, a lot of times when you see actors on set just stand by and stuff, they have jackets on because their wardrobe just isn't what it looks like, not warm. Was that a warm jacket and like costume because of being in winter in Canada?
Yes, it was heavy and it was warm and it was great in temperatures in situations like this.
It was also a great looking jacket. That was Noreen Landry, our costume designer. Do you still have it? Did you keep the jacket?
Oh yeah, I have it.
Nice.
Yes, I have that jacket. So
you're saying you could cosplay at a Comic-Con and you would just blow everyone's mind.
Yeah,
that would be funny. And
I mean, you look exactly like
you look
Six.
like him, and I'm like, yep, that's what I do. I cosplay. That would be hilarious. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try that.
Oh,
Show up at a
please.
thing. Just do a little guest appearance at something. I'm just a fan.
Everyone says I look like Six, so why not?
And you can enter the cosplay contest and come in second.
See, I know that would be. Wouldn't that be great?
The voice wasn't quite right.
Exactly.
And we have a scene here. Well, it's the filming of the scene that Roger is on there.
Oh, this is a stunt. Kind of hard to tell what's going on, but he's essentially dispatching of the guards.
The guards, there's a soldier
there. Joe, when you're filming in winter in Ontario, are there issues of and this is obviously pre-COVID we're talking about, but are there issues of your crew getting like health, sick? Are there health issues involved? Or?
No, I mean we're all very
dressed for the weather.
Set. Yeah, exactly.
You dress for the weather. If it's there, you put on your long johns, you put on your different things, and very used to living in like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was more of a wimp because the West Coast kid wasn't ready for it, so I had to layer up. To survive.
The bigger issue is often weather continuity. It's raining when you start shooting, then it stops raining, and you're trying to get coverage, and so you're intercutting between scenes that no longer match, and you have to have visual effects come in and somehow address it. And there'll be an episode in season 3 you'll notice where you'll get 3 different looks. There's a it's like a beautiful sunny day, and then there's snow, and then it's mud.
Yes.
And I'll see if you pick up on it. And
I wasn't wearing appropriate. Anyways, we won't get into all that.
Well, actually, because I was wondering, do sets have meteorologists that they just call up when they're like, is it going to be stupid hot and melt our equipment?
There should be an on-set meteorologist. You're absolutely right.
I'll do it for free.
We'll keep you in mind.
That's a big thing. That's our AD's job. Our ADs, they check the weather and they'll say, well, we have to have weather cover for this day because they're expecting rain, and they have to be up on that stuff if we're doing locations. When we're in the studio, it doesn't matter, but when you're on location, it makes a huge difference, and that's a big part of it.
So you're telling me I could branch out of my career,
You could.
Yes.
You should be consulting studios, Katie.
Yeah.
I would when they do the Twister reboot, I'd better be there.
That would be awesome.
I almost consulted you last weekend, actually, Katie. So there's something.
Look at him so styling.
Alex
Mallozzi Jr.
He actually came over and did a few episodes of Coroner this year.
Oh, yeah? He's been busy. He's been very busy.
Yeah.
I like to see it.
Yeah, me too.
Please tell me he kept that sword.
He actually, I got the sword, and I met up with him just before the lockdown. He asked if he could have the sword to give to his son, who is, I don't know if you should be handling a sword, but what do I know? I don't have kids. So I was like, sure. So he has the sword now.
Oh,
it's shiny. Let the kid have it.
Don't bring the sword in the house, son.
Pointy side up. Always remember that.
Joe, without spoiling anything, when and I don't remember exactly when he starts to grow in his goatee. Is that at a pivotal moment in the coming seasons, or not?
Alex.
Where Alex starts to grow in his goatee. I'm sorry.
No.
Okay. And Corrine asks, does light rain show up on camera?
No. which is why we hate rain towers. Because light rain doesn't read, but they have to put these rain towers, and they have these huge water droplets. And so every take you do, if you're working with rain tower, you were drenched.
I'll bet you that's not warm water either.
No, it's usually not. So they have to have a tank, and it's horrible.
That's how you keep the actors on their toes. You want them sleepwalking through their performances.
You're awake now. Yes.
And I'm just going to show 2 more pictures, Joe, because I don't want to keep you guys anymore.
Yeah.
How long does it take to shoot this very simple scene, Joe, for example?
A simple scene is maybe an hour. But that scene was, it's at least an hour, maybe 2.
Yeah, action takes a lot longer. A lot of action stuff takes a lot longer, and also depends on the number of actors in the scene and what coverage you need for them saying their lines, right? So it can take a lot longer depending.
Like there's that in episode 2. In this episode, there's that oneer that starts with 3 and 1 getting ready, and it's just one continuous shot that basically you kind of pan through and you pick up all the different characters, and it's really a highlight of the episode. Again, kudos to TJ Scott.
Yeah, that takes a lot of planning and coordination and lighting too, to get us all in the right place and have us move through and shoot us as we walk through.
Yeah.
But lighting is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Okay. I do want to just point out really quick that at the very end of the episode, we didn't discuss it, but that's when 5 confesses again to 2, or finishes her confession to 2, or I wouldn't say it's a confession, but a revelation that the memory loss was intentional by somebody.
Yeah.
And that comes back. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I always like to end each episode with a WTF moment, and that's the moment in this episode where essentially she says, "Someone wiped our memories. Why? Because we're dangerous."
She looks kind of fierce there, huh?
Yeah, it does.
She does. Woo.
Jodelle takes great pride. I mean, she started acting when she was 2. She did like a bunch of horror movies, Silent Hill among them.
Yeah.
And I know, like when she used to read like the fans online, they'd be like, "Oh, she's so cute," and she'd be like, "Ah." And when someone is like, "Oh, she's like that creepy kid from Silent Hill," she's like, "Yes, yes." She would love to be referred to as, prefer to be referred to as a creepy kid over the cute kid.
Oh, I love that.
Well, gentlemen, we want you to go be with your families and friends, and not be and not take any more of your time. I do want to finish by asking the chat one more question. This question: raise your hand in the chat if you are watching Dark Matter with all of us for the first time. Raise your hand if you're watching for the first time. Everybody in the chat, raise your hand as well. If you're,
I see a lot of familiar Dark Matter fans, faces and names. So,
I know there's definitely several from our community that are watching for the first time, but because they're in and out continuously, we'll see. I'm not sure. Roger, is there? Can you tell us is there anything that's coming up that you would like to promote, make create awareness for, or anything you want to talk about?
I mean, on my current show, Coroner, I mean, that's what's on right now. It's on CW Wednesday nights at 9, and for the Canadians on CBC Mondays. And season 2 just started airing down there, and we're in the middle of shooting season 3 right now. So enjoy.
Wow, awesome! And can you tell us what kind of character you play on that? Because I'm not familiar.
He's a detective. And it's coroner, so deal with dead bodies, a lot of dead bodies, and some very, in some cases, creepy shots that people love and some people hate. But it's it's a great character study, and it's very interesting because we have some very flawed characters playing some of these roles, which is a lot of fun to play.
So what you're saying is it's October, the spooky season, and an awesome show with dead bodies. Perfect.
There you go. We had live maggots even in our pilot episode and stuff like that.
That's cool.
All over the bodies and the whole deal. And people were like, "Ooh, yeah, it was a lot of fun." I was excited. I like it.
Oh, heck yeah.
Well, Joe, do you have any final words for tonight's chat?
No, I mean, thank you all for participating. James, it was a pleasure to meet you for the first time. I think James, is still muted. So it was a pleasure meeting you, and hopefully we'll get to see you again. Roger, it's good to see you face to face. I mean, basically we've DM'd over time, but it's good to see you face to face. Stay safe, and when do you wrap, by the way, on Coroner?
Not till January. But okay. I'll be back, we'll be. So
we have time to get you that food.
Yes, you do.
All right, that care package. Yeah.
Yes. All right, such a pleasure to meet all you guys. Thank you for having me.
You too, very much so.
All right,
thank you, Roger.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
you, Joe. Thank you, James. James will be back for an interview very soon. Thank you, Adega, Katie. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Peggy Oakes. C. Smith, yes and again, Live the Love Shack, Tony Rodriguez, everybody who's been in and out, Corrine, Time Prophet, Uncharismatic Music, everybody who's been in and out. Thank you, everybody. Everybody's watching on the replay. You guys have an amazing night. Have a great holiday in Canada. It's also a holiday in the Americas for Columbus Day. And God bless everybody. Stay safe.
Take care.
Thanks, guys.